I have a great Easter brunch casserole and some side potatoes that are super simple to make. They help me stay calm and focused on celebration days when I've got family coming over. Sharing it with you, it's coming up on the Last Minute Cook. Hi, I'm Deborah Deanna. You're watching The Last Minute Cook, where I share delicious recipes that are quick so that you can serve dinner at the last minute and feel good about what you're serving. If you're new here, consider subscribing and ring the little bell so you'll be notified of my episodes as I post them. Also, I would love to hear from you in the comment section down below with any questions or suggestions or just even to say hello. So reach out. I would love to hear from you. Okay, I am sharing with you an Easter brunch casserole that I make actually pretty annually for my family. It keeps me from having the headache and the stress of running around in the kitchen on celebration days. So because we want to enjoy ourselves and just be enjoying our day, not freaking out in the kitchen. So one of the good things about this casserole is it doesn't have to come out piping hot out of your stove. You can have it, I'm going to show you what you can do to have it pre-made. We can do some early prep, so an easy one. Breaking this down, I'm going to show you the breakfast casserole and the potatoes that I'm going to be making. And starting with the casserole, we are using turkey bacon. I've got some going right here on my skillet, and some fresh spinach. We're going to be using some shredded cheddar, some eggs, and some milk. That is for our, and some delicious bread. That's what we're using for the casserole. Rosemary potatoes. These are super simple. You can use one of these like sweet, pre-washed, skins on, soft ones. You can use the red potatoes. I wouldn't use like the russet baked potatoes. So any of the fist size potatoes would be fine, and cut them into bite-sized pieces. And as far as how much you need for how many people you're serving, you kind of I eyeball that. I don't really measure. I figure about a hand width per person. That allows probably seconds. So, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be about 5. That's kind of my cheat, because I'm not going to calculate per person how many actual potatoes they're going to eat. So, and also how much I can fit into the dish that I'm going to be using. So if you're serving a lot of people, you can double this, get yourself your 2 or 3 casserole dishes out. But anyway, we're just going to get cutting, and you're going to want them about this size. So if you're going with the larger red potatoes, just quarter them at least to about this size so that they're a nice bite size. You're not having to cut them. You can make them as big as you want, but it's nice to have them this size, not just for bite purposes, but also for flavor purposes, because the more they're cut, the more they absorb the delicious flavors, which we're going to do right now. So get your casserole dish handy. I've got mine here set aside. As I cut them, we're gonna toss them right into our dish. When your potatoes are all chopped and ready to go, this is a quick part. We are going to be using both butter. So how much butter? Lots. So I just put in there, about probably half a stick of butter. Olive oil. I don't worry too much of the butter at this point. We're going to let that melt down, and we're going to be checking on it. So don't worry about the butter, but the oil, we want to get that coated. And a good dash of salt. I've got a pink Himalayan salt. We like that, but regular white salt, whatever salt that you like, just be generous with the salting. The potatoes really need the salt. So there's that. And fresh rosemary is great because the potatoes are so hearty, they can handle a lot of rosemary, because in some dishes, fresh rosemary is very overwhelming. But for potatoes, fresh rosemary, so good. If you do not have fresh rosemary on hand, feel free, please use, I have done many times, the dried rosemary. That is completely fine. Just give it some good shakes. Make sure you've got a good amount of the dried rosemary coating your potatoes, because it takes a lot of that to really get the flavor. Okay, so give that one more little coat, little stir. We are setting this in the oven at 400 degrees. not covering it, just setting it in. And your first round is 20 minutes, and then we check on it and give it a little stir. So 400 for 20 minutes, and then give it a stir. If you are making your casserole and serving it immediately, now is the time that you would want to get your oven preheated to 350. If you're making this the night before, don't preheat your oven. So we're buttering this is a 9x13 baking dish, and just, mine's pre-buttered, but just get it all in there and make sure that you get it all the way to the top because the egg is going to rise as it cooks. Our breakfast casserole, brunch casserole, calls for 6 eggs. So I've got my 6 eggs cracked and ready to go. And we are going to also be using 2 cups of shredded cheddar. So 2 cups right in. And 2 cups of milk. You can use half and half, you can use whole milk, you can use 1% milk, use whatever you like. If I have half and half on hand, sometimes I'll do like a cup of half and half and a cup of milk, but I'm just using regular milk for this one. And look at me, I'm using a fork and I've got my whisk right here. This is easier when you're doing this much. All right, spinach does not need too high of a heat. So about a medium heat, a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit, that's about a tablespoon, and a little bit of garlic. So when I think spinach, I think garlic. They go so well together, spinach and garlic. And I'm not going to go too heavy on it, about a teaspoon. Get your spinach right in. It takes quite a bit of spinach. It cooks down to like nothing. So get yourself a good couple of handfuls in there. I'm using fresh spinach. You can use frozen. You just simply thaw it and squeeze out all of the water, the liquid, because you don't want it to be too watery. So if you're using frozen, feel free. That is a good thing to do. That's a wonderful thing to keep on hand. So pull that. You just have to make sure you get it thawed and then squeeze out the liquid. But using fresh spinach, ooh, it's so good, and you can add, just cook it to how you like it. And it's super quick. It doesn't really take, a minute to cook this down. So this is how I like to cook it down. You can, of course, cook it down as much as you want, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I'm gonna turn off my heat at this point and set that aside. Do you see how big, huge handfuls, and you're just like, where did it go? It's wild. Okay, so this is the end of that 5-ounce tub I started with. This is, just cooking it down because it shrinks to nothing, and you want to make sure you've got a good amount to sprinkle in on your brunch casserole. So, round two, I'm not adding garlic, just added a little bit of oil to help cook it down, but it's already flavored in here, and it's all going to be mixed up together. So if you have a skillet large enough to cook down your whole tub of spinach, then put it all in there all at once with the garlic and oil, and you're golden. So, and if I was doing this without y'all watching, I probably would have managed to get the whole tub in there at once, but then I would have had spinach flying, and I wanted to spare you from that. Okay, so I'm just going to add my original little small batch of spinach because it's got all that good garlic, and I want to make sure it's distributed nice and well between the two, nice and evenly between the two. Just give them a good mix. So this is what you're going to get with a 5-ounce tub of spinach cooked down. We went from like this much to this much. All right, but that's all you need. So just mix it, make sure everything is mixed well, and then we're going to set that aside. Okay, so we're going to get going on a medium-high heat in our skillet, our turkey bacon, and we're going to cook up a whole bunch of this because it goes pretty far. The eggs go pretty far, so we need a lot of the turkey bacon. So we're going to get that going. And again, if you decide to use regular bacon, the same amounts. So let's see, I'm going to actually cook this whole pack of 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 slices here. I'm going to cook this whole pack down. And this is turkey bacon. I'm just going to brown it up, give it a little bit if I can get it to get a little bit of crispness. If you're using regular bacon, just cook it to the crispness that you like. You want 6 slices of bread, and I just kind of put them into pieces. I'm working with 3 right here. Is minced bread, I say 6, but you know what? Whatever you can squeeze in there, just get it in. And if you want to, you can also take off the crusts. I used to make this without the crusts, and then I made it with the crust and did not notice a huge difference and decided it was not worth my time to peel off the crust. Plus, I thought it was wasteful. So now I just put the whole slice in there. But it is easier to get in if you just kind of put it into pieces. And it also makes the slices easier to get out when we're serving. Okay, so I've lost count. What is that, 5? Like, I'm not even counting. Just get what you can get in the bottom of your pan. And again, if you have more than probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 people to serve with this, and you've got a hungry crowd, just double it or triple it and use the dishes that you've got. Okay, I think this is about what I can fit in. You do want to keep it in a single layer, I will say that, whatever you can fit. Okay, let's go with that. Single layer, squish that in, make it work. Now, we have our turkey bacon, which we've prepared by cooking, giving it a little bit of texture in the skillet, and with kitchen shears, chopped it into bite-sized bits. It's going to give it some good flavor. Okay. And just get that all on. There's plenty of it. I did 8 slices, but you can go really heavy on this if you like. But I think 8 slices is about perfect because it just covers all that bread just right. Let me see. I'll just get that in there. All right. Sorry. Put that there. Okay, and just kind of get it where you want it so that every piece kind of has some good. Some of this is going to move around when I pour the egg in, but just kind of get it where you like it. And then hopefully by now our spinach has cooled off a little bit. Let's see. I'm just going to put that right in on top of your turkey bacon. And there's really not, I guess, any kind of particular order to do this in, but I just always put the bacon in first. Okay, get that in there. And our eggs, our egg mixture, just give that another little whisk, little stir, just kind of wake those back up, fluff them up a little bit. And also to add a good pinch of salt here. Get that in there. Okay. And just, okay, gently pour this. It's not a big deal if it disrupts your bacon and your spinach, but it is nice not to have to move stuff around once all this is poured. Oh, I'm dripping. Look at that. Okay. So just get that all poured in. Just make sure your bread is covered. Oh, and the cheese goes on evenly. It kind of tends to go down to the bottom. So when you see that, just move the cheese around where you want it. Little spots that it's missing some. That delicious cheese. Okay, so this is how that's going in. I'm going to push down my bread to make sure it's covered, the parts that are exposed. As long as it's got a little bit, some of it can be poking up as long as it's been at least dipped once in the egg, so that's fine. And this egg is going to rise way up while it's cooking, so no stress. Just make sure that's it. Okay, so our oven is preheated to 350. So this is going in for 45 minutes at 350, and we're not covering it, it's just going straight in. At the 20-minute mark, we want to check on our potatoes and give them a stir. That butter, of course, is nicely melted, and as I'm looking at this, I realize I went really light on that rosemary, so I'm going to add some right now. It's a good opportunity. We're only 20 minutes in, and my rosemary is very close by, so let's use that. Just going to put some more in here because, again, the potatoes are hearty, and as strong as the rosemary is, it really takes a lot to flavor these potatoes, but when you do it right, oh, it's so good. So let's get that a little bit heavier in there and give that a stir. Okay, so these are looking good, but we're nowhere near where we want to be. And when you're checking on your potatoes, you're just going to open your stove, take a look, give them a stir, and get them going for the next 20-minute round. Here we go. We're going back in. 20 more minutes. It has now been another 20 minutes. We are at 40 minutes total on our potatoes. And again, I like to check them every 20 minutes. I have been making these potatoes for years, and checking them every 20 minutes seems to be the winner rather than just putting them in there for like 50 minutes, because depending on the type of potato you're using, the number of potatoes you're using, all of that is going to change your cook time. So check them every 20 minutes, give them a good stir. You may want to add some salt, like I did. I just added more rosemary at the first 20-minute mark. You may need to add some butter or some oil if you didn't get enough to begin with, and you'll notice that as they're cooking. So mine are looking pretty good. I'm going to put them in for another 20 because they're still not where we want to be. And I'm guessing that that's when they're going to be done, is at that hour mark. But here we go, back in the oven. Our final 20-minute marked actually everything was done at the same time. So 60 minutes for these potatoes. And again, just giving them that last stir. But this is what we're looking for. And you can see that they're browned, they've cooked down a little bit. There's some nice brown edges there. Yum. And then our beautiful brunch casserole. Oh, come on. I mean, and it smells good. This kitchen smells good. I've got rosemary potatoes. I have bacon and spinach and egg. This is ready for guests. I'm so excited. So you can do this. I want to try it. But remember, if you need to double it, make more so that you can make this, and none of this has to go out piping hot to the table. We have our rosemary potatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of salt on all of it. I would also be serving a bread, like rolls or some French bread. A fruit salad would be wonderful for a brunch like this, and also a mixed green salad. And that's it. You're done. So there's some wonderful options for a very simple family gathering, friendship gathering for Easter, which is such a great time to get together to celebrate. And we don't want to be stressed out. Okay, let's take a bite. That tub of spinach, that 5 ounces, was the perfect amount for this 9x13 that I'm using. That's a great amount. And the bacon, the turkey bacon, is also the perfect amount. The flavors blend beautifully, and it's nice and soft, and that bread just absorbs all that egg and cheese, so it's all in there. And then our potatoes, if you can see them, are nice and tender. Yum. And they're gonna have that rosemary. You'll need salt though. Don't go light on the salt. I'm scared these are gonna be hot. I'm glad I added that extra bit of rosemary, because again, they can handle that stronger, more amount of the rosemary. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I hope this helps you with your family gatherings. Make it less stressful for yourself in the kitchen. Serve up something delicious like this, and happy Easter.